Come on, kick. Oh shit. Fucking where
All right. We all good on your end?
Yeah, we're
All right.
fucking ripping.
We're live then. The sound audio is working. Audio is on. Remember back in the day when we had audio issues every single time we went live, but we're professionals now.
Oh shit. Audio issues so good. It's so good.
So
I
much
got
for
coming
that.
through.
So much for that.
Yeah, right. So much for perfect audio. I got three fucking speakers cooking.
All right. Well, welcome in everybody. Today is February 5th, 2025, and we had a crazy week of current events. Can't even keep up with the Twitter timeline anymore. It's just there's too much going on, too much to talk about. So me and Priamo will break down some stuff for you guys today, what we're seeing. We'll break down how this affects the markets, of course, and what Priamo sees going forward. But the Gentleman's Code episode 26 today, we've been doing it. We've been crushing it. We're on almost every platform imaginable. So wherever you guys are watching this from, make sure to go to the link in the bio, subscribe to our YouTubes, subscribe to us on different platforms, and also join up the Taylor's Code community. We got something very special coming in the next coming weeks, so make sure to get in now, lock in your price, no matter what you guys are looking to do, e-commerce, crypto, get a fitness guide to teach you guys how to get shredded, how to have optimum fitness. That's also now available. So make sure to get in there and do that. But otherwise, good morning, Priamo. How's your week going
Morning,
so
Bobby.
far?
Fantastic. Yeah, the timeline is absolutely on fire. Since well, I can't call him Pompino anymore. We gotta hang tight on that
Dumbino.
one. Dumpino. But since Trumpino's been in office, yeah, it's I don't need he's doing so many things that it has the Democrats in fucking shambles, bruv. They're in shambles, losing their minds over Elon. I saw a fantastic video of Ms. AOC calling Elon the dumbest billionaire she's ever
Yeah.
seen, which isn't that a oxymoron?
Yeah,
The
he's only going to put
dumbest.
people on Mars. He's so stupid. How dumb is he?
Yeah. The first human in history to start a company that's going to put human beings on Mars. The first ever in all of human time. But he's pretty stupid. Yeah, for sure.
What
Idiot.
is her bar for smart then, if he's stupid?
Right. And what exactly has she done that's so incredibly intelligent? I'm not saying she's stupid, but she's clearly not as intelligent as Elon. I mean, I think that's a pretty fair and objective statement to make. So, yeah, it's incredible to see the reaction of people for the different things that are happening right now. One thing too with the Twitter shit, it shows you how important it is to watch things in its entirety because you see all the clips that you're getting on X. I call it Twitter. Excuse me, Elon.
Yeah,
X.
yeah.
Yeah, X. You see all these short clips on X, and of course, anything that's edited, anything that has short snippets, even whether it's super conservative or super liberal, regardless of the side, it's deceiving because they don't give you the full context. And I saw that whenever I was watching the RFK Jr. confirmations. Did you ever watch any of the confirmations this
Hmm.
last week?
Yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
watched a good hour of the Tulsi one, and I watched a little bit of the RFK one.
So I was watching those two and then Cash Patel. I was watching the whole thing while I was working. I had it on in the background. I was listening. And you heard a couple of things that none of the conservatives want to show or put out on Twitter or put on X, which made sense. And the same thing with the other side too. So did you see the part where RFK Jr. Bernie was asking, I believe it was Bernie, or it was maybe the other lady, the other crazy chick. What's her name?
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah. Psycho. She's a classic Karen. That's a classic Karen lady.
But they were
Classic.
talking about pretty much the same thing, so it could have been either or.
Exactly. They were both cooking them. But they actually hit him with something that was interesting that made me think, oh, okay. They kind of got him there. And it was he took money, a percentage of legal fees on cases that they brought to vaccine companies. They were suing them, litigating against them. And then RFK Jr. was getting paid if they won the lawsuit, like 10%, right?
Hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah. And she said, well, you're obviously not willing to take money from pharmaceutical companies. And he's like, of course not. Yeah, of course. They're not going to pay me any money. Of course not. Which she set that up on purpose. She said, okay, yeah, that's fine. So you're not going to take money from them, but will you also commit to not taking money from legal action towards these pharmaceutical companies? And he wouldn't say no. So I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting because if he's making money off of litigating against these companies, there's a conflict of interest there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then what I saw, he kind of spit back at them was that you guys take money from the pharmaceutical companies. Like that's how you funded your campaign, Bernie, at going at Bernie. Like that's how
Right.
you funded your campaign. And then Bernie was like, no, 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 I never taken it from executives at pharmaceutical companies. It's like, what does it matter if you're taking it from the conglomerate of the pharmaceutical company or you're taking it from the executives? Like, why should that matter? It shouldn't matter.
Exactly. He's just doing a word fucking gymnastics. Well, I'm not taking it from the
Yeah,
executives because it got sent from this person's account, actually. Yeah,
a
stupid.
politician's answer for sure.
Exactly. So I should have done more research on the RFK Jr. thing and seen what it was exactly that he was making money for. He said that he did do portions of that case. He worked on it himself. It wasn't just something he just got a kickback just to have a kickback. He did
Well,
work on it. Yeah,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say, well, they kind of did the same thing to Cash Patel too. And some of the things I saw is that they were saying he was making money off his media appearances, like going on the Sean Ryan show and going on some of these shows, talking about we need to dismember the FBI. And they brought that up. They're like, well, you're running for a position of head of the FBI, but you want to dismember the FBI, and you made money off of these podcasts and made money off of these media appearances, which is kind of like this, I guess, kind of the same thing as the RFK Jr. thing. Maybe not the same thing from a legal perspective, but it does raise the same questions of like, what are your actual intentions on doing this? Are you looking to just get in there and make kickbacks or whatever? But so I don't know. I think it's interesting, but I believe RFK Jr. and Tulsi got confirmed, I believe, yesterday. I think Cash Patel's the last one, or they're finalizing JFK Jr.'s RFK Jr.'s confirmation today, either or. So I'm not sure, but it should be coming to an end.
Right. So RFK Jr. he got confirmed by I believe it was
Senate.
the financial committee.
Oh, financial committee. Okay.
Yeah, so it was a smaller one. So they did a vote of 14 to 13. 14, he got it sent to the Senate floor. So now he's due for the full vote that will show if he actually gets it or not. So him and Tulsi haven't gotten the Senate vote yet, but
Okay.
they got sent to the Senate. The Pam Bondi chick was the one who actually got,
Okay,
yeah.
that's who I saw. Yeah, that's right. She's a
Yeah.
yeah, she's a savage. She was the Florida Attorney General down here. And when I first moved down here, I remember seeing a lot of stuff about what she was doing. She always hung around that uh, he's a sheriff in Polk County, which is the county in between Tampa and Orlando, and
Hmm.
he's the guy who always like brings out the pictures of the criminals and he puts them out there. I don't know if you ever seen him. He's an older guy, but
Uh-uh.
he's like, yeah, we caught these guys doing this, 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 and then boom, puts them out on the stand and like calls them out. But not Judge, Sheriff Grady something, but she was the Attorney General for him, so they were always prosecuting high level criminals and stuff down here in Florida. So I think she's going to be pretty good. It seems that she
Good.
has a focus on kind of everything that's going on with the border and Canada and stuff and illegal immigrants and drug trafficking. So
Speaking of Canada, fucking from the last time we were on here, we get the fucking trade war of the century. The whole fucking crypto market's getting decimated because they thought that we were gonna get smoked.
not even crypto,
And
everything, stocks, bonds, everything fucking took a whack.
cooked. The Canadian dollar, Mexican dollar plummeted against the fucking US dollar, of course. But Bomdo folding instantly on Monday, and the Mexican president saying, okay, we're gonna hold off on the tariffs. We want to talk. We're gonna send troops to the border. We're gonna, prevent fentanyl and other drugs coming through the border. They instantly laid down and bent the knee to Trump, which is a testament to his negotiating tactics. He literally wrote the book, The Art of the Deal, and he's showing people the art of the deal on how you leverage a situation and make sure you get what you want out of a country, knowing that they're not going to be able to withstand the tariffs that he's imposing on them and them trying to impose them back on us, thinking that it's going to affect us the same way it's going to affect them. It's impossible. So instantly they bent the knee, and then they got what they wanted. So yeah, I'm curious to think, what do you think about that, and how bummed down the Mexican lady, you know, yeah, whatever her name
Yeah,
is.
well, I think it breaks into two parts. It breaks down into one, the negotiation laying out, Trump laying out like the 25% tariffs, and then him negotiating and getting what he wants out of it. The second part is the actual economics behind it of like who's going to benefit. Obviously, the United States will benefit from it more than Canada's economy will. But the first part, the negotiation, everybody, it sends like a shockwave whenever he announces something like that. It's like everyone, the news, the X and Facebook, like everyone just goes crazy for 6 hours. Like, oh, what does this mean? What does this mean? And that's exactly what he wants. Like that's what he's doing in to the Canadian leaders, to the Mexican leaders. He's sending those same shockwaves through. It's like, okay, well now we have to start planning. Like, what are we gonna do if they put 25% tariffs on us? Okay, well they're not gonna buy, like we talked about. They're not gonna buy avocados from Mexico. Like they're not going to start buying just other stuff that they have down there, wheat, like other things that other crops from Mexico, maple syrup from Canada or energy from Canada. So it's like, okay, start realizing what we need to get rid of, our inventory, right? Start selling stuff. Um, and then it's like, what does he want in order for him not to put these tariffs on? So that's what they talked about. They got on a phone call. He wants to secure the border, put troops on there, and he wants to have a fair trade deal. He doesn't. I think that's what the 30 days is for now. Is for these next 30 days. So they're going to come up with the trade agreement at this next. It's either you agree to the trade agreement where we're not in a deficit anymore to you guys, or we're going to put these tariffs on. So I think that's what this 30 days is for here, is to come up with the trade agreement that the U.S. isn't going to be losing $100 billion to Canada every year, $200 billion to Mexico every year. Let's find a way that we could all make money from each other. Because what it really comes down to is that the U.S. pretty much props up the Canadian economy, props up the Mexican economy, and we
Mhm.
supply them with the military support. Like, who's going to invade Mexico? It's like you're not going to invade Mexico and try to take over their country because the United States is right there and they'll just beat you. So it's like they're getting intrinsic value from just being next door to us. So we need to be compensated for that in some way. So now I think you see the military moving down in there. We're going to take control of the border. We're going to start going after the cartels and have our presence there more, which is I think ultimately what happened with that agreement.
And you see that these countries now expect the USA to subsidize whatever they have or what they're doing and prop them up and protect them and the military, et cetera, because that's just what they've been used to. And then as soon as somebody comes in and says, no, we're not doing that anymore because it doesn't make sense. It's not economically sound for us to do that. Why would we continue to do that? Then they lose it. They're all same thing's happening with the US aid thing,
Yeah.
where they're finding all the ridiculous things that they were sending US aid to around the world, different countries for transgender operations and
Yep.
transgender studies and books and shit. And Doge is looking at this shit and saying, "What are we sending money for around the world? What is this shit?" And then some of these countries in, I believe it was in Africa, were saying, "Oh, you don't want to give us aid anymore for blah 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 blah." And and I saw the reaction from some people, which was great. They
In the
said, "Yeah,
streets.
yeah." They were saying, "Why do we need the U.S. aid? How about the African countries prop themselves up and develop our own economies and develop our own governments and actually take care of ourselves as opposed to just waiting for the government handout?" So, which is exactly right. Why are we sending all this money over there to for what? What happened to the American people? What happened to the American economy? What happened to developing this country, fixing the infrastructure here, developing our school system? We have a subpar school system for how rich of a country we are, a subpar healthcare system for how rich of a country we are. So where's the? It's called U.S. aid. So why not aid the U.S. as opposed to other countries?
Yeah, I think, I did want to talk about this. This was a topic that I definitely had on mind today. And I think it really struck a nerve. You saw people protesting and people saying, "Oh, we didn't elect Elon Musk to do this and that." It's like one, he's saving money and he's cutting out fraud and abuse of the system, which is what you should want. So if you're protesting and opposite of that, it just shows that you're probably part of the fraud and you're part of the problem there and you're getting kickbacks. But yeah, you're right. It's like these this US aid, which I think is it's a complete, like Elon called it, a ball of worms. It's pretty much just a conglomerate of Democrats. And one of the things is that they said, I don't know if you saw this, is that they never denied a payment ever. They never said no to a payment that had to go overseas or internal. They never said no. It was just a free for all. You just take the check, pretty much a blank check whenever you wanted it to write. So yes,
Hmm.
you're right in terms of it's like you're just sending all this money everywhere. And what I think was going on is that people at USAID would meet with these people, like you said, maybe they're in African country, they're getting they want a deal to build a water well in their town in Africa or something, and the US people were like, okay, we'll give you this money, but we want a 20% kickback of the deal. And so they're probably just doing these deals all around the world for millions and billions of dollars, lining their own pockets. And now that they want to cut it, U.S. aid is like cut, it's gone. And all these people are like, where am I going to get my money from now? Like, how am I going to survive now that I can't do all this fraud around the world and getting kickbacks? So I think that's
Hmm.
why people are up in arms in the street trying to get into the office and take it back over and start it up.
And this is good that it's exposing it to the American people. That's why they're freaking out about it with Doge so much. And I saw the things about how, oh, we didn't elect Elon Musk. We didn't put these people in positions of power. When in reality, I was thinking about it, said, no, we actually did 100%. No. I was fully aware that Elon was going to participate in this administration. He was going to be a part of it. He was going to all the rallies. He was supporting Pompeo.
They made that very clear that Doge was going to be a thing and cut costs and spending.
Exactly. It was not a mystery to anybody. Any administration that gets elected is going to select people that weren't elected or voted for to serve in the administration. That's normal. That's how you get the cabinet.
Yeah, I mean, think of the people that work at USAID lining their pockets with these deals. We didn't elect them, and they're taking our tax money and spending it around the world. So what's the difference?
Great point. Exactly. Who are these people that work there and send the money? We didn't elect them.
Yeah.
We certainly we much more elected Elon than we did the people at the USAID.
Yes.
So between the two, Elon has a much better uh, he has a lot more support to be doing what he's doing. And so that's why I've that point doesn't make any sense to me. No, we did elect Elon. It was very clear that he was going to participate. You know who wasn't made very clear that he was going to participate in politics? George Soros. Nobody, he wasn't public about anything. We
For
didn't know
50
about him.
years, he's been in the shadows, pulling
Yeah,
strings.
yeah, we didn't elect him. But Elon, yeah, he of course he has a support. The people who voted for Trump all support Elon. That was a part of it was a package deal, very clear. And then they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. So they said they were going to set up Doge, look into government spending, look into the fraud. And guess what they're doing? Looking into government spending and looking into fraud. And so, and who else would you want to do that than Elon? He comes in and Twitter takes over Twitter, and he didn't fire 80% of the staff, but 80% of the staff either got fired or left.
Hmm.
20% runs X, things cooking. So clearly he can move efficiently. Clearly he can make things better, right? He has plenty of other companies doing the same thing as well. So why would he not be qualified to do what he's doing right now? He's actually doing it so well. That's why they're freaking out. Oh shit, how are we going to launder our money? Oh shit, how are we going to get our fraudulent
Hmm.
money? How are we going to get our kickbacks? Yeah, they're freaking out.
Yeah, and you got to think too. This is only week two of this going on. There's so much more to unravel. I guess Elon has a team of like four, five, six programmers, young guys, like younger than us. Like I believe the oldest one was 26 years old. That's running this program, like just taking databases and running it and see where these payments are going. So they talked about it. The U.S. Department of Education's next. The IRS is coming up in the queue. So they have a bunch of government departments they're going to be looking at and seeing what kind of waste and what kind of fraud was going on, and they're going to start. They're just going to start chopping away at it.
The IRS getting audited is going to be
Oh
fantastic
my god.
because I mean, everybody knows what they do. They audit the citizens. Where's our tax money, huh?
Hmm.
Where you hiding our money? I know you owe us an extra 20,000 this year. You missed out on a few bucks. they get audited, watch is gonna be fucking fraud
I
left
want to
and
see
right.
what they're doing with all that money they get. The IRS probably brings in more money than any other government entity besides like sales tax. You gotta think about it.
Hmm.
It's personal income tax. Every United States citizen is giving money to the IRS every single year. So what are they doing with that money? Are they giving it like is it appropriately going back into funds? Is it going to US aid and then is it going somewhere else? Like they're going to be able to see all this very easily. It's and tax season's coming up right around the corner, so I'm going to be interested to see if this happens before April 15th, which is tax deadline for most people, or if it
Hmm.
happens after, because that could have a big effect on like what people do this tax season too, which would be interesting to see.
Yeah, the IRS is getting taken down in April. People might forget to file.
Yeah, no,
That's
seriously, for real.
what I'm saying. Because if they're not gonna have a force to, we're not. Hey, listen, we're not giving financial
I'll
advice here,
pay.
but
I'll pay.
yeah, I'm paying for sure.
Yeah, I'm paying.
But
I already paid.
yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, I actually already sent this check for this year and next year. So Elon, if he takes them out, I'm already paid up. But yeah, that's going to be interesting to see the IRS and then the USAID. What was the other one that they had said? I know they were freaking out about something else. They're freaking about so much shit they were freaking out about. They had the hearings last week. The USAID, Elon's stupid. What else? What was another headline that I saw this week? Bomda folded on the tariffs. Yeah, Bomda. Oh, bruv, we got to get the people of Denmark are trying to say that Greenland is their territory. It's not for sale. I
Yeah.
thought that was funny too. I don't think they understand it's not a decision whether or not it's up for sale. He's going to give you an offer you can't refuse. Okay. And they're going to rile up all the Americans that live in Greenland and basically make sure that they tell their government, their authoritarian figure that hey, we want to be a part of the U.S. as well. I still want that to happen. I hope he doesn't forget about that. We got
No,
to
they
get a
didn't
little
forget about
Greenland
that.
action. Yeah.
I think it's gonna come when the possibility of the same offer that Mexico and Canada got for tariffs goes to the EU. And somebody asked him, a reporter asked him this week, they're going to say, "Are you thinking about these tariffs for the European Union?" And he said, "Do you want the political answer, or do you want the correct answer, or do you want the truthful answer?" And they're like, "The truthful answer." And he's like, "Absolutely yes." So I think with that, Denmark and these other countries, at the thought of a U.S. tariff coming down on them, are going to start acting a little differently, just like we saw this week with Mexico, Canada. Um, it's going to be the same kind of response, and this is not a. I don't think he's doing this for to like show dominance per se. Like it is kind of showing dominance, but it's also to get correct behavior out of them. I don't know what the correct term with that for that would be, but he's not looking to
Mhm.
kind of like he's not putting more dominance. He's just using the dominance we already have to get the correct behavior from these countries like Mexico, like Canada. Like they should have already, everything that they agreed upon should already be done on the day to day. Like there's no reason why the Mexican border should not have troops on it, just letting people up through it. Like they should have had people there the past 4 years helping out with that. So for
Mhm.
one, it's like these are things that they could already be doing. Now he's just using the dominance of the United States to get this behavior out of them. So I think with the threat of these tariffs going to the European Union, Denmark might be a little more rattled. Maybe it does happen. Maybe the European Union does actually get these tariffs put on them, and they're a little financial stress for a couple months. Then he comes back with a negotiation, and I think that's kind of how it's going to go down, as opposed to maybe just buying it outright.
Right. And that squirming that you see from already from Mexico and Canada, it makes sense because it's the same thing that happens with a coach, right? So a great analogy is you can always be a very hard coach and then lighten up a little bit if you need to. But if your team or your environment, your company's used to you being soft and then you try to tighten up, at first they're always going to squirm because they're not used to that extra pressure. They're not used to that more disciplined routine, more, oh, this is serious. So that's what's happening with Canada and Mexico is they're used to the looseness, the softness of the last administration, getting away with a lot of shit, getting taken care of. As soon as the right thing starts being done by Pompino, they're squirming because they're not used to it, even though it is the right thing to do. Same thing with the U.S. aid.
Hmm.
They're losing their minds because they're losing all their kickback money. They're losing their fraudulent money, the way to money launder. That should have never happened in the first place. It's the wrong thing. It's not going to happen moving forward. But they're squirming because that's what they're used to. They need that. That's their money. That's their income. So it's always going to be super uncomfortable at first, even for Americans. In the case that the tariffs get placed back on us and we're uncomfortable for a little bit, it's going to be worthwhile in the long term because then the country's going to be a lot more prosperous for our children, for the next
Hmm.
generations to
Yep.
come. The country's going to be richer. The citizens are going to become richer. Everything is delayed gratification. You want something to change, it's gonna hurt a little bit in the meantime, right? So sucker up, pony up, figure it out. Understand that we're not going to get as devastated as the other countries, so it's just a waiting game until they decide to come to the negotiating table and decide, all right, we'll comply, we'll do what you guys need, we'll make a deal. And that's essentially what it's become is just a negotiating tool. Is bring them to the table, get them to sit down and say, all right, what do we got to do to stop this? Because we're getting smoked right now.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, and it kind of goes back to the tariffs between. I think that the tariffs between Canada and the U.S. and Mexico is kind of the overarching theme of what's going to happen over the next 4 years for world like economics. And I've seen a lot of people like not really understand what tariffs mean. A lot of people say things, but it's a lot of hearsay. It's like people hear things that they hear and then they just say it again. But I don't think the tariffs are a one for one. It's not like you just put a 25% tariff on and then it comes in at a 25% tax. It's not like that. It's more of a chess move. It's more of, okay, I'm going to put this tariff on you. So now people in Canada are going to be paying more for US goods or vice versa, right? Americans are going to be paying more for Canadian goods. But I mean, would you rather have higher priced stuff that comes from Canada? Like we said, like the US is in a better position to deal with this than Canada is. So think of it as a Canadian paying way more for US goods coming in. Okay, it's going to be very uncomfortable for the next 3 to 6 months while this is happening, but eventually someone's going to break. Canada's going to break. They can't deal with this anymore. Their country literally will probably fall into economic default and they can't do anything. So they have to come forward with a good deal for both countries. So isn't that what you want? You want everyone to have a fair deal, and you, especially the
Mhm.
Americans, want a fair deal. So, like you said, it's going to come to a point where people can't do it anymore, and it's going to come to a great deal and then lead to future success. So, yes, it's going to be uncomfortable for a couple months. You might pay a little more for energy, a little bit more for gasoline, but it's nothing we can't deal with as the
Right.
American side. The Canadian side's a little different.
Right. And yeah, because you hear tariffs don't work, it's going to only hurt us, etc. And of course, as soon as we place the tariffs on Canada and Mexico, then what do they do back to us?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll place them back. Well, if they don't work, if it only hurts the country that's placing them, then why would they place them back on the US?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, no, yeah, it works. That's why they do it. That's why they came to the negotiating table. So it clearly works. All right, so that's put to rest. The tariff clearly works because you
Hmm.
got to negotiate immediately, right? That's subjective. That's what happened. And now the Mexicans are sending all these people to the fucking border. And then you got, all the illegal immigrants now in California and other places protesting in the streets on the highways with their flags waving, Mexican flags, Guatemalan flags, etc. Isn't that interesting? Oh, we're mad that we're here illegally and that you would deport us. Let's wave our Mexican flags. Wait, what?
It really makes no sense.
Clown World. That was when I saw that, my first thought was Clown World because that is the ultimate, just again, oxymoron. I want so badly to be an American and I'm here legally, but I'm gonna show my support for Mexico. Bruv. Well,
I,
okay, then go back to Mexico, bruv.
it really doesn't make any sense.
Clown world. It doesn't make any sense. You're either American or you're not. Do you want to be an American? Okay, then become an American. Support America. Raise the American flag. Don't burn the American flag in the streets. Denounce America. Say, free Palestine. This. Listen, you can have views. I'm not saying you can't have views, but Don't burn the American flag. Don't denounce the country. These people who want to be here so bad say how much they hate the country and how the country's so oppressive and, we're so oppressed and we're the minority and this, that, and the third. Then what are you doing here? America's objectively the freest country in the world, and you're complaining about being oppressed here? Get the fuck out. Why are you here?
That's the thing, that they would never go live in Mexico,
Oh,
because those people that are doing that are probably waking up on a Monday, sleeping in, getting their government check, going out, walking around town, buying a nice latte, chilling, smoking weed on the couch, watching their Netflix show. Like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. My buddies are going to protest. So let me grab my Mexican flag and go out in the street. So
right.
it's the same people that benefit off of the American lifestyle and the American system that are still going to go out in the street and just be like, this wave a Mexican flag.
Right.
And like you said, if you hate it here so much, I'm sure you could just take the trip down the highway from Los Angeles, and they'll gladly take you there in Tijuana.
Hmm. Yeah. And it doesn't make any sense because where's the allegiance? Where's the where's the pride to be American, right? This is why you saw the highest enrollments, the highest enlistments into the US military in December and January, consecutive months. Why? Because again, people were finally proud to actually be American again.
Hmm.
Trump's making it good to be American. Don't feel bad that you're American. Don't just bend over and bend the knee because you're American. What? Rev, if you want to be here and you want to be a part of this country, you support the country. You say this is a great country. Let's make it a better country. Let's make it better for the next generation. You don't come here and then say how shitty it is, how oppressive it is. It's just these ultimate giga complainers, the ultimate victim mindset. No matter where they're at, they're oppressed. They're the victim. This is a bad place, etc. It's not a bad place. America's the freest, at least speech wise, freest country in the world. Okay, and you're going to come here, protest that you should stay here illegally, but show your support for Mexico and your other countries. It doesn't make any sense. Quit coming here and absorbing all the resources and then denouncing the country that you came to. Why did you come here then? Isn't that pretty unintelligent? You hate it here so much, but you came here. Why? Why'd you come here?
It goes to show how important history is, and why people should study history and take history so importantly, is because when America was first founded, yes, it was that international people coming here from Europe and people coming here from Africa, and even at the time, like Mexico was pretty much the whole western side of the country. Like when it was the original 13 colonies, you had the Louisiana territory, and then the west coast was pretty much still Mexico. It wasn't until the Louisiana Purchase that we gained the Midwest through like half of Texas, and then from there we expanded further and got the whole west side of the United States, which was part of Mexico. So Mexico does have a rich culture on the west side of the United States up until about the 1820s, 30s, 40s. Not sure exactly when that deal happened, but if you still think about it, that's only 175 years ago. That's only like 3 or 4 generations. So if your family did have a rich history on the western side of the United States, and they were Mexican back in the early 1800s, that's still who you are. It just so happens that the border lines have been drawn differently now, and the world has changes where you just can't have a mass influx of people from around the world with how easy transportation is nowadays. You can just jump on flights and get across the world in 24 hours. That was only up until 100 years ago that you could do that. So things have changed since then. Yes, it's not fair to some people. Like it's not fair to the people that live in the Middle East that they can't immigrate to the United States as easily as people that do live in Mexico, right? So that's why it's not fair to just have an open border. Like people
Hmm.
from all around the world should have the equal opportunity to come here, and that's the whole point of having the border and having an immigration policy. So studying history will show you that different cultures do come here and they do thrive, and everybody does live a great life. Like you said, it's the freest, most prosperous nation in the world. Why? Because we've set up processes where people from all around the world who are smart and who are not bad people, aren't criminals, could come here and start their businesses. And it's so
Hmm.
funny because native, I say Native Americans, but Americans that were born here are economically less successful than immigrants that do come here. it's it's pretty statistically proven that Asian Americans, Indian Americans, and people from the Middle East have great businesses and they build a great life here. So it's a total conundrum of, if you don't like it, get out.
Right. Yeah, it's the only place I've seen where they want to denounce. Yeah, it's the only time I've seen people want to denounce the place they come to. It doesn't make sense. You came here. Don't denounce it. Be a part of it if you want to be a part of it. I saw a guy who made a great point about imagine because, these people who hate America so much and think Americans are so terrible and we're oppressed. If you told that same person that's supporting these illegal immigrants that are protesting and waving their Mexican and other country flags, if you told that person an American, a white person, went to, let's just say, South Africa, or let's call it Sudan. Let's say they go to Sudan. This white person from America goes to Sudan illegally. They bust into the country illegally. And when they're there and they try to deport this person because they're there illegally, they round up a bunch of other Americans that are there illegally and they start waving their American flags and protesting on the streets that they should be able to stay there illegally. But we love America so much, Sudan sucks. That that person would be like, "Oh, Americans are so da da da. Why would they go there to another country and try to protest? That's so bigoted of them." And da da da.
You know what they would
They
do?
would,
They'd
yeah,
arrest them and put them in jail.
yeah,
That's what they would do.
exactly. And so if it was American that went to another country and did that, they would denounce them. But because it's other people in our country, they support it. You know, people with that liberal mindset. So it would be foolish if an American did that to another country. So then why are we thinking that's okay in our country? It's like they literally came here illegally and then they're protesting in the streets with their country's flag. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it's just such a weird way to think is everything's bad, everything's oppressive, and to give this false sense of sympathy to the wrong people. They're sympathetic to the wrong people because they don't want to support the people that they think are doing too well already. It's like,
White people.
yeah, white people, exactly. Correct. Exactly.
So
It's yeah, it's fake sympathy. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it comes full circle with Doge and with U.S. aid. It's like the U.S. for so long has put so much money and resources into sending things out of the country, like this U.S. aid debacle that's happening now, just pumping money into all these programs for all over the world, right? U.S. tax dollars going all around the world, and not taking that money and investing it in the United States, infrastructure, roads, bridges, new cities, new buildings in cities, right? Like how long have we gone this way without building new American cities, right? It's been a long time. It's probably been 50, 60 years since like the 60s or 50s and 60s when things were really booming in New York and Los Angeles and all around the country. So we have to switch back. It has to be back to that America First approach where we're not pumping money into US aid who's taking our money and doing who knows what with it around the world, and start putting that money back towards the American people, because then once we build up America again where everything is working properly, great immigration system, great roads, great cities, tons of housing, then we could open up to more immigration and more people could come in and there's more jobs and there's more housing and it's better for everyone. It's not just we want to shut everybody out and like you can't come here, it's we're full. It's like no, we have to get our own cards in order and then retool, make things better for everybody, and then we do it all again. So that's how Amanda
Absolutely.
was founded, and that's how the systems have come to be, and that's what I think needs to happen going forward.
And that's how you do things the right way. People don't think that way. They want to get the shortcut, easy route. Oh, let everybody in, make it illegal, blah, blah, blah. No, like you just said, how about if you make the nation richer, you bring businesses back here, you start to innovate again here, you start to build the country again, you start to build new cities, you start to break down buildings and build new skyscrapers. You need that labor. You need people to come in and do that work. You need
Hmm.
people to come in and build that economy. Guess what? Just like you said, oh, now we can go ahead and allow way more people to come in here legally to work, to build an income, to build a family here the right way, just like my parents did, just like other people's
Hmm.
parents did that
Yep.
immigrated to this country. You do it the right way, and then you have a fantastic life here in America, and you become an American. But the shortcut route, people thinking that they just deserve to cut to the front of the line and have the shortcut route, it doesn't, it, you detriment the success of the country in the long term. Everything is delayed gratification and vice versa. You can either suffer now a little bit, do it the right way, do it slow, making sure that's done correctly, but in the long term, benefit much more, as opposed to people who want a shortcut way, cut corners, do it illegal, come in now, fuck it. And then you create all these problems that weren't originally there, and you create a worse future for the people down the road, not knowing that because you're making them feel good now, because you're giving them the easy route now, you're really just making it more difficult for them in the future. So, because even whenever people come here illegally, it's not even as if they have, you know, this fantastic route to, citizenship. And most of them, they're not even trying to. Not most of them, I shouldn't say that. But I'm sure a lot of them aren't even trying to. But if you come here illegally, you're already putting yourself in a difficult situation. Why would you?
Because you don't even have the legal working papers to get a job. Like the whole point
Hmm.
of the immigration process is to get your working papers, get a visa, and get placed here temporarily where you could go to work. And I think that is kind of I don't want to call it, I don't want to say it, but I think there's ways that richer people kind of trap illegal immigrations into cheap labor. Maybe you can understand the word I was going to say, but there's ways. So when people come here illegally, they're working on pennies on the dollar. So they're making cheap money, which might be better than what they were making, but they're not in a better situation because housing here is way more expensive. Food here is way more expensive. And it's just that the person who's hiring them is getting cheap labor. Yeah, they like it, and that's maybe why they want more. Tell your buddies to come in. We could work. We could work on the farms till late. But in reality, it doesn't help them because they're not documented. They don't have the resources. They don't have the tax benefits. They don't have any of that stuff. So you're right. It's not as easy.
I was just thinking about this. I didn't even, it didn't even cross my mind to say this before, but I have another cousin who just recently, relatively recently, within the last 2 years, came from Venezuela, immigrated
Oh, really?
legally. Yeah. And he actually stayed with my parents for a little bit whenever he first got here, while he was getting all of his paperwork. I mean, he had already had his paperwork, but while he was getting his, job set up, et cetera, getting his apartment, because he had to do the whole process. He had to get his driver's license. He had to be able to get paperwork, show that he had an income, be able to get an apartment, et cetera, for himself. It took time, right? He had to stay with my
Hmm.
parents for, I would say, about a year, probably. He stayed with them, maybe a little bit less. And, but he did it the right way. Now, guess what he does? He's got two or three jobs. Dude's hustling, bruv. And he loves it because he's in America. He's making US dollars compared to the fucking bullshit currency they have in Venezuela, the Bolivar, which is fucking worthless. Not even worth the paper it's printed on. Due to hyperinflation, just destroyed that currency. So he's got US dollars coming in now. He sends money back to his family in the Venezuela. And then he's got his girl here now. He's got his car. He's got his apartment now. He's building. He's loving life.
Hmm.
That's how you fucking do it. He came here legally. He got two, three jobs. He's hustling. He loves being here. He's making his US dollars. He's not out in the streets saying, "Oh, fuck America for giving me a better life and a better opportunity." What? It's not to say that he's not still proud to be Venezuelan. I'm not saying you can't be proud for the country that you came from, but he's not denouncing America. What?
Yeah.
No. He came to the land of opportunity, baby. He did it the right way. That's how you fucking do it.
And that's the majority of the stories. I never heard a story, there is stories out there. People come here and they make a mistake, maybe they get arrested or something happens, but for the most part, it's like you're coming from a lesser situation to a better situation, so you should be most people are grateful. Most people take advantage of it and they do very well. There's the bad apples, of course, but I think a lot of the people that you see in the street, they're not even they are American and their like parents were Mexican. But their parents came here illegally and then they had them and now they're a national citizen or whatever. So then they feel like I don't know, they feel like they need to stick up for their parents maybe or something. I don't know.
Right.
But I feel like that's how I see a lot of people because a lot of it is young kids. You don't see older people. There is older people out there, but a lot of it's a younger crowd, people our age, teenagers, early 20s. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, they want to get worked up over something. But that's the thing. It's that's that mindset, and I don't. It's the victim mindset. I want to be upset about something. at all times. I want to be oppressed at all times. I want to have an excuse as to why I can't be successful or why I can't make as much money as my counterpart in the land of opportunity. Uh, how can you come to the wealthiest country in human history and say I'm oppressed? I mean, in today's United States, you're
Yeah.
oppressed. Are you? Are you really? Or is it just an excuse? Are you just a coward? Are you somebody who just wants to give yourself a good reason to feel as if it's not your fault that you're a fucking degenerate or you're, you know, you're a unimpressive human being. And so you want to say it's other people's fault that you're unimpressive. Okay, sure.
Yeah, it's a problem of the Hollywood and the luxurious life that the US projected and projects that okay, when people get here, they're like, "Oh, well, I don't have my Mercedes or my $1 million house out in the suburbs." Like, "Oh, I'm oppressed. Like, I can't do it." It's like, "No, it's like people just have worked for a very long time this in to get this stuff. You're not just going to be handed it, which I think the Biden administration was trying to do, is handing people penthouses in New York City and debit cards with cash on it to go buy food and jewelry and
Hmm.
stuff in the street. So it's yeah, but a lot of people I think have a misconception of like what they think they're going to get to America, and they think they're going to live this Hollywood luxury life when 75% of the people are just normal human beings going about their day, going to work, going back home, cooking dinner, hanging out with their family and doing the same thing again tomorrow.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Pompino though, get us back on the fucking sticks, Pompino. All right. Um,
What do you
I'm
think's
trying
gonna
to think. Is
happen
there
today?
anything?
Anything fucking crazy gonna happen today or what?
No, because I was looking at. Are you talking about charts?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, like, is something gonna happen today? Pumpino
Um,
gonna?
I'm just looking at ETH right now. ETH is it's not dying yet. So here's the thing. They had that crypto czar talk yesterday in the
Mm-hmm.
afternoon. Of course, another nothing burger. They're just announcements of announcements. And it's not until we get something material, until we get something that's actually tangible from a administration perspective, as in we're gonna get the SBR, we're gonna get the wealth fund started, and we're buying these assets at this date and this much of these assets, etc. Until we start getting announcements like that, there's not
Yeah.
going to be a lot of movement on the price, which makes sense because people are looking at it as okay, you're thinking about an SBR, you're thinking about this, that, and the third. Sounds good, but when's it happening? When's it going to get priced in? When can we price it in? How much are we going to price in?
Yep.
So, yeah, we got to get some type of real material announcements, not just fucking announcements of announcements. Yeah, yesterday's meeting, I don't know if you listened to it. It was a but fucking nothing burger. They said nothing. It was just I don't even understand why they had the meeting. I don't even know what it was about.
Yeah, I agree. I did see clips of it, and again, I was like trying to decipher some stuff, but I I couldn't figure out what they were trying to say.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. They just got on just to get on. So, okay, cool. So basically you just got everybody on the edge of their seats for nothing.
Yeah.
So now I do believe that they're going to implement something. I do believe they're going to implement the SBR, whether it's just strictly Bitcoin or they do a couple of altcoins as well is going to be interesting to see. I do believe they're going to do some altcoins as well, which will be super bullish because they'll pump the price of Bitcoin, but not only will they do that, if they're acquiring Ethereum, XRP, maybe Solana, who knows what they decide to acquire. If they're doing all those assets, then it's going to be incredibly bullish for not only just the market, but those assets individually.
Yeah, I think that sounds I think the same, but I think what their strategy is go after the debt first, chop away at the debt so that you don't have to pay so much debt and interest over the next 4 years, and that's why Doge has a set end date at the end of 2000 or July of 2026, July 4th, I believe it is, 2026. They want to be done with Doge, so their job's going to be done. And then with all that money that they're saving and they cut, maybe that's when they implement it. So maybe we don't see actions in the reserves and the the strategic Bitcoin reserve until next year sometime because I think they're really going after the debts and the fraud and the deep state per se of getting all that money figured out first and then reinvesting the returns of that they saved in debt into the fund, which it could happen sooner. That's just a theory as to what they were doing. As an accountant, that's what I would do. I would go after the
Hmm.
debt first to save ourselves money, and then go, because that's what they tell you to do, right? They don't invest until your credit cards are paid off. That's pretty much the situation the United States is in, right? We have so much debt that we pay to other people. Once we figure that out, then we could go back to investing in ourselves. And I think that's possibly a strategy. Trump's a very smart guy, finance guy, so maybe he understands that and he's holding off on it, but he's just trying to get the people excited enough to keep the markets afloat until that happens. So we'll see.
That's a good point. That is because that does make sense financially. If you're not going to make a larger return off your investments and your credit card interest rate, you better pay off the credit cards first.
Yeah.
So that does make sense. Yeah, and the Loomis lady, the point she had made was that we wouldn't even have to use new US dollars in the case of doing a strategic Bitcoin reserve, because what they could do is convert their government bonds, not government bonds themselves, but they have certificates with the value of the gold that they have in their reserves, right? And so what they could do is they can sell it at the fair market value, and without printing new US dollars or using new taxpayer money, they could sell that gold and then just fucking flip it and go buy Bitcoin.
Okay.
So that was something that she had proposed. So being able to pay down the debt, take care of the debt with tariffs and what we're going to do with these other countries, and then being able to turn around and start converting some of that gold right into Bitcoin, that'd be the fucking
I never
banger
thought
play.
about that because the United States has a huge gold reserve
Yep. And
before
that's what she had said.
before we hyperinflated and printed so much money over the past 4 years. But yeah, we do. That I never thought about that. Yeah, they could technically sell some of them. They could sell the gold to themselves and then use that money that they bought the gold with to buy more Bitcoin. I never thought about that. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah. I like her. I like Loom. I like, no, she said it's Lummis. It's Lummis. That's how I'm gonna get it right because she's the Bitcoin lady.
Yeah.
She was saying, yeah, they'll sell the gold certificates at the fair market value because she said they've had them since 1970, which makes sense because that's probably around whenever they got off the gold standard, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah. So they have that. They could eat. I don't know how easy it would be, but they could convert that, get the Bitcoin with it, boom, start pumping the bag, start accumulating Bitcoin. Because that's what happens with the U.S. adopting a strategic Bitcoin reserve. This will be the last point we leave these people on. Once the U.S. does that, the the effect it's going to have on the market will be substantial. And here's why. It's a game theory. So once the biggest player in the world adopts this cryptocurrency, it's going to become a race for every other country in the world to be able to do the same thing. And what's going to happen is people are going to continue to try to keep front running each other because the mindset's going to be, well, if they get in before me, how high is the price going to be? And if they get in before me, how high is the price going to be now? Well, I better get in before everybody else, and everybody's going to be thinking like this. So then all of a sudden it becomes a rush to go accumulate as much Bitcoin as humanly possible because it is a scarce commodity.
Yeah.
The gold, there's not unlimited gold, but they can keep digging up more gold. Bitcoin's 21 mil. It's never changing,
Yep.
ever. So you're gonna see this race from all these countries to get all this Bitcoin, and then it's gonna get silly. So it's not gonna be something that you see get priced into the market instantly, which is what people are gonna want to see. You'll get a pump for sure. You'll get a pump, but it's not gonna be anything like what the price is gonna be in a year or two when other countries start to adopt it as a reserve currency. The rush on Bitcoin is going to be you can't even you can't even visualize what it's going to be because it's going to be so outrageous. It will be over $1 million a coin.
And it's gonna be like we said this a few times. It's gonna start looking like the S&P 500. How does the S&P 500 look over the past 50 years? It's straight up. And once these big governments start getting in and buying and holding, and that's how it's gonna look. It's gonna like that. It's gonna look just like the S&P 500, just a straight up chart for infinite time frame until it burns out, when who knows how long. It could be 100 years until it flattens out.
Until the Ponzi's over. That's it. Don't think anything else of financial markets. It is all a Ponzi scheme, right? Some people look at that as well. I don't want to participate because it's a Ponzi. And then there's other people like you and me who understand because it's a Ponzi, we have to partake. We have to participate and be able to make money with the rest of the people that are making money in this game. That's all it is. It's all a game. The S&P 500, the stock market's fucking fake. It's all
Hmm.
fabricated fake. And if the market starts going down, what these people do in power, politicians and very, very successful, very rich people do is they stimulate the markets. They artificially create inflation and reasons for the market to go up to continue to push it higher. Because if the S&P, if these stock markets really actually crashed and people lost faith in these markets and started making a run for their money, the whole economy would collapse. People don't understand that the whole economy, the
Hmm.
amount of money that's tied up in Wall Street, and in these financial markets is trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
It can't collapse. They won't allow it.
Yeah, it can. It would have to be a full, it would have to be like a nuclear war situation in order for it to collapse. But like regular everyday people, you know how many regular everyday people it would take to like cash out their 401ks to move the stock market 1%? Like it would be a billion people would have to do that in order to like collapse the US S&P 500. It's not the people's choice. Like you said, it's these back end people, it's the industries, it's Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, BlackRock. These are the people pulling the strings, and they have these traders that are trading on leverage, and that's why you see so much fluctuation some days, is because people are just trading with absolute crazy numbers and leverage and stuff like that. So it's
Hmm.
it's nothing that we can control. We just gotta kind of ride the waves and get in and get out
Hmm.
when we see fit.
Hmm. Understand that everybody's a human being at the end of the day, whether it's an institution, these big hedge funds that you see, these people that you think are so intelligent, have all these algorithms and trading bots, etc. Everything comes back down to it's run by a human being, and
Hmm.
human beings are susceptible to greed and to fraud. Okay. So don't think that these financial institutions, these TradFi bros, are any more capable than you are at handling money. They will make the same mistakes that you do. And that's when you see these massive stock crashes every once in a while, once in a blue moon, these financial crises because people got too degenerate. So
2008, they got greedy in the bonds.
exactly. They got fucking greedy, and then you see what happens to the market. That's what happens. People get greedy, and it's going to happen again. Understand that. It'll happen again. That's not the last financial crisis that we're going to have. But yeah, it'll never go away. So outside of that, though, cook them up. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm all good. I was I was gonna say, this the stock market stuff. It comes down to like you said, it does have a lot to do with algorithms, and it could be the future of economies. There's a lot of stuff with AI, and I think that's kind of the future of free trade, because there is no such thing as free trade. Like everything costs something to trade something. But I think AI is going to help a lot in that sector, and I think that's why we saw one of the first days of the administration was a big artificial intelligence infrastructure they're going to build. I think it's going to have to do a lot with trade. They're going to really work. AI is going to be able to get us the cheapest price for trade in every part of the world. So I think that's going to have a big thing to do with it. So we'll see what happens. I think we're very bullish in stocks over the next 4 years. Crypto's looking a little rocky right now, but it is also still very bullish. Just because I think they're really cliffhanging us right now, like you said with the announcements. But I think they're trying to clear up debt, trying to clear up capital, sell some gold before they really go all in on it. So I like these levels to buy right now, though. I mean, I do. These, if you got capital to spend, it's not a bad time to buy. Even Eric Trump tweeted a couple days ago, ETH is at a great level. If you could afford it, do it for sure.
I agree 1000%. These are god tier entries that we have right now in crypto. It is because when you look back at what happened in August 5th last year, whenever Japan liquidated themselves and we had that huge nuke in crypto and other financial markets as well, at the moment it sucked, right? It's just like it always does. As soon as it happens, it sucks. It feels bad. It feels shitty. But then you look back at to what the prices ended up going to in December and you realize, oh my goodness, I did how many multiples? How much did that go up? How much was I up? Oh shit. You just got the opportunity to buy in once again at those same levels. So you better take the time to accumulate this time. And then now, of course, you know, make sure to take profit accordingly and understand that the cycle won't last forever. But while Trump is in position and in place with this administration, crypto's in the most bullish environment that's ever been in its history.
Hmm.
So you can't look at that market and say, well, there's no opportunity there. No, you're getting the price of ETH is the same right now as it was last year when Bitcoin was $49,000. Bitcoin's now 100,000 and ETH is the same price
That's
again.
crazy.
Crazy. But what people have to understand is that's opportunity because that means Ethereum is grossly undervalued. So what do you buy? You buy Ethereum because it's going to snap back and catch back up to the fair value price with Bitcoin. It's grossly underpriced right now. Grossly.
I agree.
Bro,
I agree.
two.
I think a lot of it over the past year, and I've said this on multiple occasions that I thought that the technology aspect of it is going to be key, and I thought that
Hmm.
the technology aspect of Solana was really good. It's very fast, the network, it's very cheap, and I think that's what drew a lot of people into it, especially in this meme coin cycle where people are just buying and selling shit coins on Solana, and even you see a lot of them come up every day. So I think that's what took a little bit of ETH's market, like a little bit of ETH's market was moving over to that Solana side, moving into these shit coins on there, just because they could get in and out so fast. Ethereum, you can't do that with the gas fees and some of the stuff like that. So it is a longer term hold, Ethereum, in my mind. It's not
Hmm.
that meme market really doesn't come into play. So, but like you said though, it's more comparable to Bitcoin than it is to Solana. So it's grossly undervalued in comparison to Bitcoin. So it's still a great buy.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm doing. We sent it into the private crypto plays this morning. I sent a
Yep.
message of a gentleman that's a fantastic trader that I follow a lot. He he put in a very good analysis of what he sees the price action on Ethereum in the short term is going to be. I cannot stress to you how fantastic of an opportunity this is to reaccumulate before the next leg up on Bitcoin because the price of Ethereum is going to snap back to what it's worth. So if you're, I mean, it'll be a great transition. If you're not already inside the Taylor's Code, if you're not already part of the network, the organization building and developing with the gentleman that we have inside, the link is in the description. Okay. Within the next couple of weeks, myself, Bobby, we're going to be moving over and launching a new, let's call it, product for the organization. And when we go live in there, everything's going to change from the way that we interact, the way that we do business, the way that we network, the way that we make money. So get inside of the Taylor's Code right now before we transition at the beginning of the March, because once we transition at the beginning of March, the membership's going to rise.
Hmm.
Okay. And everybody who's inside right now is going to be grandfathered in at where they're at. We're going to continue to grow the network, continue to make money inside. And if you're looking to make money from e-commerce, join the organization. Bobby will get you started on a store. If you're looking to make money within crypto, invest, be a part of the private crypto plays where we essentially update people where we're positioning, when we're buying, when we're accumulating, when we're selling, when we're taking profit. Where's the cycle going? What are we doing before we go live with it on YouTube? Join the organization, right? And so, like, comment, subscribe, come for the juice every single week. Continue to improve yourselves. Continue to be educated on what's going on in the world and how this can affect your life and the way that you can make money. And Bobby, I'll let you, give them a little bit of
Yeah.
juice and send us out.
Yeah, it's a lot more than just making money too. It's a lifestyle almost. It's hustling day in and day out, connecting with guys that are hustling day in and day out around the world. This is a worldwide network. This is not just,
Hmm.
some guys from Pennsylvania working together to get some stuff. It is, but it isn't at the same time. But
Right.
so yeah, so join for the network, join for the community, ask questions like you have so many resources at your disposal. Even if you just want to get in the gym and work hard, and you want to have a guy who's going to motivate you day in and day out, like we
Hmm.
have that. If you want to start an e-commerce store, you want to start your own business, we have that. But it's also that mindset of getting to work every day, having a group of guys that are going to war every single day. That's the most important part, and that's what I love most about what we built so far